Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are watching My Hero Academia, Season 6, Episode 21. Last episode we were introduced to a little bit, learn more about Lady Nagant and, what led her to be our antagonist right now, the person we're fighting against. She was an ex-commission hero and she killed an ally. I don't know. I feel like there's more to that story. We might get it at some point.
I think we were given a possible leeway to have some theorizing that maybe Deku could end this fight without more bloodshed or violence, and that maybe Lady Nagant would actually really like Deku.
Prove that he's a real hero,
because he's a real hero.
Much like Stain's ideology.
Yes.
Chizuki's there. Maybe that's gonna have some involvement just for fun.
He's just there for fun.
And I believe, we're given the radius of 3 kilometers, which is Lady Nagant's, range for firing.
Yes.
And she's also been given another quirk, Airwalk.
Which has made her that much more terrifying. We already know that her talents with her quirk rifle were already unmatched. And now she can move from rooftop to rooftop, so...
If she needed to be stronger, right?
If she needed it, you know?
All right, I'm ready. You?
Yes.
Sweet. Okay, that was My Hero Academia, Season 6, Episode 21. They're not going to kill Nagant, right? There's no shot that just gave me, one of, the coolest characters in this entire universe, and I am in love with them, and then they just kill him.
But it also would, unfortunately, do some... good things, I guess, for the story. I don't know. Okay. So the reason why I'm going to go with she's dead, or just going to be completely out of commission, can't use her as a helpful hero.
That's where I'm at.
Is that kind of parallel of visual that we got as she was falling from the sky after Deku basically broke the rifle. We had a shot of her arm reaching up, her bloody, mangled arm, and then different versions of herself around on the screen. And then at the very end of the episode, we get this point of contact when Deku had grabbed the hand, and then the hand fades away, and his hand turns into a fist. And there's something about that kind of visual continuing throughout the episode until the very end, and her hand disappearing and his turning into a fist.
Yeah.
That makes me think okay, well, he had reached out this helping hand, and during that conversation with her, he was saying that she could help them, but now that hand has been removed.
Yeah.
And so I guess
I'm
where
on
my
the same boat
is.
as you, and with that hand being removed, I do think she is going to be off the table in terms of helping anymore. Mm-hmm. I would like to believe, or at least I'm telling myself right now, that means critical care, and she's out of commission for a long time, but not dead. I think that Deku clenching his fist there too, the amount of frustration, look at how gray Lady Nagant was, and how easily manipulative she was for one, and it led her to death's door, and I'm sure Deku doesn't want that to happen to anybody else.
Right. There was a lot of, because of the phrases that we got, most of the world is gray, the dark, help me, what needs to be brought into the light. There were a lot of things in this episode that were gray, and we get Nagant shooting the bullet at Chizuki, but we learn from Deku that she didn't completely, make the accuracy on point. And also with him, she didn't shoot him in the back when she could have. And then we also get this idea that, so not only does Deku save Chizuki there, but Nagant didn't actually want to sacrifice him like a sacrificial pawn.
Yeah.
And then we also are getting this idea, 3 minutes later, that All For One booby-trapped a quirk, and he probably has booby-trapped quirks that he's given to all of the other people that have been given this mission to find a certain person and bring them to this mansion.
I didn't know that you could do that.
And so now Deku's gonna go forward. How can he save these villains that he's fighting if they've also been booby-trapped to self-destruct?
Yep. No idea.
That is a concept that I'm It's already hard enough. He wants to save villains, and now we felt he was getting to a point where you can't save everyone. You're gonna have to
he literally
be okay with killing someone.
The choice of physically saving a villain is gone out the window to a certain point because of this new, I don't know, this trap. Yeah. That's not fair. Like, I'm like, please let the other quirk we haven't accessed yet be like quirk removal so that we can take off these like explosives from people before it happens.
It's this really cool kind of dynamic between him trying to come into control of his quirks, but also having a lack of control of what the actual outcome to the villains are in the battle.
Yeah.
Like, he obviously wants to save everyone, even the villains, doesn't want to kill. But then we're getting all these lines during this new arc, if you will, that he's going to have to, possibly kill and take some lives in order to continue on. And sometimes that's the only way of saving someone. But then we're also getting this removal of even more control on his part. It won't even be his decision whether to save them by killing them, because they're going to be possibly dead either way, because All for One killed them. And this is like,
You know what I'm worried about? There's technically, like, you could make the argument that there's 2 All for Ones right now, right? Like, in the body of Shigaraki and then the body of All for One. If All for One's willing to I don't think he was trying to take Deku out with Lady Nagant here. I think he was just killing off Lady Nagant, or like trying to silence that information. What's the potential that there is a nuclear explosive inside of Shigaraki that he'd be willing to use to take out Shigaraki and Deku,
I mean, this is a new element that we hadn't even... And also, test runs are a thing. So, obviously, this explosion didn't kill her outright. I'm sure there was that added element, she's probably going to fall from the sky and fall to her death.
Yeah.
So, is there the ability to make that breach of contract destruction even more lethal in the future?
Yeah. It hits different seeing Deku continuously say that the world is gray and that those who live in black and white, like that's a minority, right? It's the truth in this world, right? And to acknowledge that truth, then try to find a plan going forward is exactly what this world needs. It makes me think, like, yes, what All Might was doing was amazing, and he was like the best hero, right? But he didn't solve all the problems at that gray level. He was just a symbol. I don't know what the right answer is.
2 other things that we got in that whole gray area in this episode was this really awesome kind of dialogue piece with Nagant and the chairman, where he was saying, it's for the sake of maintaining hope, and she's like, had said brainwashing.
Yeah.
In that, to her, maintaining hope was almost like brainwashing, because you're only showing the good, you're not showing the bad, so you're leading people to believe that there only is the good.
You're manipulating
people. And then we also get a line from All Might, which isn't anything new. We already know this, but he says the line, "Burden I made him carry." And that's also gray, because we are brought back to it a lot with All Might, especially recently. Him kind of reiterating and self-awareness that he brought a child into this and gave them this power and this burden to carry. And that's already really gray in itself.
Yep. I'm really happy we're here. I actually I've been worried about the My Hero writing, or how it's always really difficult to to take a step towards a finish of a story. They're doing a really good job right now, man.
It's also hard for me on a different end to be critical of My Hero, or to get too into analyzing it.
Yeah.
Because for some reason, I think it's maybe because we've been watching it for so long, obviously separately, that it's almost become like a nostalgic favorite.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of watch it for the enjoyment factor, and you don't think too much while you're in it. because you're like, oh, I'm back in My Hero and
Yeah.
we're fighting crime and quirks and...
It is 1,000% my fault, but I feel that this is the show that I'm worst at reacting to, and I think it has to do with that, like, primarily me. I've watched the show basically alone for the entirety of it, and it's kind of like and usually with shows we're like starting, we're on the same page, we're like going through it together, so it's harder
or the
for
other
me to...
person is the Sherpa for the person who hasn't seen it. But in this case, both of us watched it separately, and it's also been around for many years, and we've enjoyed it for many years separately. So then it's like, it's hard to obviously get rid of all those years of watching it just for the surface level entertainment that we had gone through. And now in a new season, a season 6, be like, now I'm actually thinking about My Hero for the first time.
And it's thinking about it differently, right? Like, not that they have been released, but you did a catch up of multiple seasons when you were in front of the camera and taking notes and stuff. I'd watched it from the beginning without taking notes, it's a different level of trying to pay attention and like understand what's going on. And
we've never really had that, where normally when we on the channel, we start a show and we start with taking notes, and we start with truly unlocking, analyzing, understanding, trying our best to understand everything that's happening, what's being given to us, breaking down dialogue, all of that. And this is a really interesting experience to have all of that prior kind of knowledge of My Hero, but a different experience of My Hero, and then to bring it into and then to bring it into this format.
One line, I love Lady Nagant. Lady Nagant is one of my favorite characters in this series, even though she was
design, quirk, all of that was like really
so good.
Was really great.
I also love the dilemma of it, because it's like, okay, I felt like the moral grayness of Hawks and what he's been through in the last, like, in this season, right? And in the back of your head, you're wondering, well, what if things went wrong? So all of this has been set up already to build an incredibly strong foundation for a character like Lady Nagant. And it's kind of crazy to me that a character like this is like 2 episodes, basically, right? And I assume we're not going to get much of her next episode, but she has this huge presence in my mind. Her line, "Fragility made me dizzy," while she was reaching out to the kids, and like the flash of her arm being bloodied, like that was gold to me. That was so well done.
I think the characters that embody the grayness are the ones that I love the most from this series.
Yeah.
And I definitely really, really attached to Hawks and loved Hawks as soon as I met Hawks. Like, obviously, all the other big heroes, like, cool, yeah.
Machine Washi.
Yeah. Mirko, we loved her. She was awesome.
This is the season of best girls.
Genist is awesome, you know?
He's the best.
But we talked about it a few episodes ago when we were really getting the Shoto and the Todoroki family kind of coming together in the hospital room with Endeavor. And we talked about it in that setting that, wow, the Todoroki family arc and everything they've been through and all of the kind of dynamics within that are one of the most interesting and satisfying elements of the show.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of that grayness that it brings to the table, that intentions and actions and upset, the family dynamic isn't the best, it's not all happy. You don't get just the surface. It's not just maintaining hope, it's and brainwashing. It's we actually got the reality of what happened to Shoto, and then we get Morphin Endeavor, and then we have Dabi, and we have all of these elements that show us the spectrum of color between black and white. And I think that element was so satisfying and amazing. And then when Hawks was brought in to the conversation through Endeavor, which is cool that was brought in, you know, as a almost like a line. And then we're getting Lady Nagant, and I think through her, we're learning and loving Hawks a little bit more for what he's been through, especially with his line to her about having someone to support him and that he is an optimistic guy.
So good.
Mm-hmm.
The color was great this episode. The desaturation, I loved it. To talk about one of the biggest things that happened this episode that we haven't yet, Fajin.
Mm-hmm.
That's a new
the new
thing.
quirk.
So if I
This is the first
understand
time using
correctly, he stores kinetic energy
Mm-hmm.
and then releases it. So it's like I don't want to like. There's in Hunter x Hunter. There's an idea of somebody who can like wind their arm up, and the more they wind that arm up, the more powerful it gets, and that's how I'm kind of imagining it. It's like this tension that's increasing.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so.
Okay, it's interesting.
I think that it's it goes with what we heard En say a few episodes ago when we first saw Smokescreen, that Deku needs to start thinking about the quirks as if they are tools on a tool belt for him to utilize. And I think that this is a perfect one to kind of add to that. We talked about how like Airwalk was so perfect to add in conjunction with Rifle, that now Deku's kind of realizing which quirks kind of go the best together and how many he can use at the same time, to what percentage. And I think that this new one, Fajin, is like kind of just an added to these. I think it goes well with them because it doesn't feel discordant.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just like it's almost like a booster.
Yeah. It's interesting. I my favorite part of it though isn't like the quirk itself, but the utilization of like other quirks with it. Like back in like season 1 and 2, we are with Deku in his mind thinking through every step of his thought process to get to the next action or decision that he's making, the next change. Now it's another character doing that for him almost, because Deku is so quick with it and is making such progress and is so smart when it comes to these quirks and how to use them. He's like, okay, these are the ones that I utilized at the same time before. It didn't get the result that I exactly wanted. It would be more beneficial to use just these 3 in this way. I'll be able to refine them. It's so cool to see happen in such quick succession, and we are not getting like the whole step by step.
I love that you just brought up like how smart he is and how quick he is with realizing these things. And to go with what we were just saying earlier about like if we had been analyzing this or watching it more closely upon earlier seasons, things we might have felt or thought now. And as soon as you said that, all I could think of was, oh my god, yeah, Deku is the character that keeps a book on people's quirks and their progress and like how to battle them properly. And like this person, of course, with the way that they like to think and the way that they like to think and study quirks, of course they're going to, within their own mind, be studying their own body and what's going on with it and almost coming up with the best combinations and trying new ones.
So cool. Last thing I want to touch on is Chisaki. I thought that it was a really interesting choice that when Deku made that like interruption and was like, do you remember what you did to Eri? The first thing he thought about was how he could again use Eri to get his goal, achieved. Like, sure, that goal in this instance was to wake him up, right? But it's like he still is like looking at Eri as just a tool.
And all he's focused on is the one person it seems that he actually made a connection with, that he actually cares about.
I hope that Deku's method of like 1 for 1, like if you start thinking about it this way and like thinking about who you should be sorry to, then I will like reward that, by fulfilling your end of it. Interesting.
It almost felt like a more mature person talking to a child in that instance.
Yeah,
like,
it did.
Okay, well, that isn't the correct way to think about things. That's not the person you should be apologizing to. So if you sit on it and think to yourself a little bit and work your hardest to realize what you should be saying to Eri, then you'll get the reward of seeing Pops.
Yep.
Like
Blue-eyed Deku happened. I don't know how to feel
with like
about
squiggly lines.
Yeah. I've never seen blue-eyed Deku. Only green-eyed Deku.
This is a new iteration.
Yeah. New iteration, new evolution. It's like a transformation.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's like Dragon Ball Z. All right, you good?
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.
Hi, I'm Anna.
And I'm Ben.
We're AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we are watching My Hero Academia, Season 6, Episode 22. Last episode, Lady Nagant exploded from a trap that was laid by All For One.
There was a breach of contract.
There was a breach of contract, and I am hoping Lady Nagant is not dead. I'm pretty certain that at the very least she will be, out for the count, hospitalized for a while trying to recover, if she's still alive.
Correct.
And we were also introduced to a new quirk, Fajin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to have the ability to store kinetic energy so that Deku can release it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
Where do you think we're going from here? We have a few more episodes, I'm guessing, in this season. It's usually about 25.
Well, we got, I believe, some possible foreshadowing of what is to come with Lady Nagant telling us that there were a few other specific people that had the same mission that she did.
The mission that in 2 months they will bring somebody to the mansion in the Haya something woods.
So it feels like either these next couple episodes are going to span those couple of months and the different villains that we will be facing that have been given quirks from All For One, or, who knows, maybe we'll get there earlier than that. Get to All For One earlier than that.
Try to stop the plan before it even happens. Mm-hmm. All I know is that I hope Best Genius is involved.
I'm sure he will be.
Sweet. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. Full length, sync up your footage to My Hero Academia, Season 6, Episode 22, starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Hybori Woods. Ah, interesting.
So we're there after hearing that.
Yeah, it's interesting that that's the former hideout of the place we were told about earlier this season. Uh-oh.
Of course. I mean, he had to be prepared for this when he had preparations for breach of contract.
Yeah, he's very good at predicting, too. Principle of living in groups.
The fragility is making me dizzy.
Take that back. Your turn. I'm sure danger sense, right? Yeah. What is up with All For One and explosives right now?
He's like really into it. This is his explosion arc. I just realized that Hawks has tiny little wings in the opening,
yeah.
And then we got him trying to fly last episode, and he was like, no.
My wings aren't big enough yet to fly.
There's only a couple episodes left, but we have so much of the other students in the opening that they have to come back into, right? By the end.
I don't know who is in charge of the students right now. Is it Principal Nezu? You know, like, obviously we saw students from other schools being sent out to help.
But we don't know what they're currently doing.
Yeah.
Are they being sent out to help as well? Are they just taking care of the people that now live there?
I thought earlier that it was like, Deku was on his own, so that would make, like, the students want to, like, you know, but Deku's not completely on his own. He's with, like, all the top heroes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that they must know what he's doing. Or
and it's not
I guess
like they
it's a
can
secret,
go back
but...
to normal school life either.
Yeah. Okay, still alive.
It's strange she's still alive, though. Focus the burden even more on him.
Oh.
That's crazy. One boo can overshadow 10 cheers.
A great line.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god. Night. Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Is he a Nomu? Yeah, he's... Good. He's really leaning into the villain look, huh?
Even how he's walking. He's even casting them off and isolating from them.
Damn, Deku's gaining his respect, too.
It would be what?
Holy shit.
To smile with everyone again. To be.
He's doing this all alone, though. That's what he needs. People. Friends. They're right by the All Might statue.
What are all those people?
He's able to use them as marionettes.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
See how it's like blurry in and out?
Support. Friend.
Look at how he's drawn.
Okay.
I love Bakugo so much. We're going all the way back.
Then we come to him.
I don't think Ito would be okay with it, right? Thank you, Principal Nezu.
Thank you.
They're just like going for it. Ida's in too.
Thorny path.
The song.
Oh, stop!
Right next to the statue, too.
Oh, stop!
Are they gonna fight him?
Oh my god, they
Trying
are!
to bring him back?
What the
I was about to say, like, they have no chance, but Deku was just falling to his feet from exhaustion. He's good. Alright. Back to the discussion. Alright, that was My Hero Academia, Season 6, Episode 22. I'm so ready. I'm so excited.
I am also so excited. The next episode, I really hope that there is actually, like, some form of battle in the best way. Like, when Bakugo and Deku fought, that was one of the best moments.
In this entire show.
This entire show. And I feel like I need there to actually be some amount of tension here in terms of a battle in order to bring him back. You can't just have, oh, we're all gonna fight you to bring you back, and then him be like, ooh, but I don't want to actually fight you guys. Yeah, I'll go back with you. There needs to be that emotional, heart-wrenching, they're all willing to get injured fighting him in order to bring him back.
I agree with you. I think that it's not going to be as much of a fight than Deku trying to run away as quick as possible and then trying to catch him.
After him?
Yeah. There was one shot of Bakugo when it said, like, friend, that it was my favorite thing. It was my favorite thing ever. I don't know. I absolutely adored it. The way that he was drawn, it didn't even look like it was My Hero Academia anymore. This looked like it was like Mob Psycho. It's so good. Do you see, like, how, like, loose and light his expressions are?
There's something about it that I think completely fits with the word friend, being over top of it and the context of when he's entering.
And he says, found him, you guys. Like, he's like, Bakugo, if they hadn't, like, okay, imagine not watching anything in between season 1 and season 6, and then you watch this. Like, it wouldn't make any sense to you. But the amount of actual progress and development that Bakugo has gone through, he's like a completely different character, reinforced by the character that we know he is. That, like, when he chooses to balance his, like, craziness and his, like, straightforwardness with actual, like, legitimacy and, like, points of Deku's crazy, dude. Like, he's going to continue to say it's fine. Hooking him up with another dude who made his living doing the same thing.
Exact
that's
thing.
A recipe for something even crazier to happen.
Right.
Like, I love how smart he can be and is, and, like, how he wants the best for Deku, and he knows Deku.
It's believable that Bakugo knows kind of the unfortunate truths. Yes, Deku is amazing for his selflessness and he makes a great hero, but what has Uraraka said that she wanted to be? She wanted to be the type of hero that thought about the other heroes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what all of them are doing here, this class. They all realize just how selfless Deku is and how little he's going to consider himself. And so all of them are like, we're the ones that are going to consider him then.
Yep.
If he is the one, if we cannot replace him as one for all, we cannot replace him. So, I always get them mixed up. Is it one for all?
Which one?
Deku's? Deku.
One
for all. What? I always have to think about it for a second. We cannot replace him as one for all. Mm-hmm. We can't take this burden away from him. And they all realize that. I think even the pro heroes realize that. They can't remove this from him. They can't take this burden from him and do this job. It is his goal. It has been building for years and years and years, all within this one power, and it is currently inside him. There's no replacing. But what they can do is make sure that he considers himself, and if he won't consider himself, then they consider him, and they support him, and they help him. Because you can't just shield him and protect him or stop him, because he is the one that needs to do this. Mm-hmm. And so he needs the help to actually be able to do it.
Support. Mm-hmm. Right? I think that's like, think about the fight in season 3 between All Might and now I'm doing it, and All for One. One of the turning tides in that battle was when Edgeshot and Endeavor, like, everybody was showing up to support All Might. They couldn't take him down. They could not, like, the fire blasts of Endeavor barely did anything to All for One. But it gave him that extra push, that extra support, knowing these people had his back, mm-hmm. to give him the strength enough to do what he did. And I'm glad that that's the direction we're going in here. Can you believe that the dude who looks like Bakugo and has gauntlets like Bakugo is like, he needs one thing right now, friends, and then it's Bakugo who's showing up.
It's pretty perfect. It's pretty perfect.
Oh my god, dude. That episode went by pretty quick.
It did. It felt like it was meant to go side by side with the last episode.
Agreed.
It felt like that was almost like a surprise it didn't air as a 40-minute episode altogether, because of obviously we were in this little story about Lady Nagant, and now it's kind of over. Yeah. And because we already know what happened to her. She's alive, surprisingly enough. Yeah. And now the other hired guns are coming for Deku. And then we have a very great kind of ending almost here with all the friends showing up. Could have been a season ending. Glad it wasn't. Yeah. But there was also this element of what was happening with All Might and Deku from last episode into this episode that I felt like made it seem like these two episodes were like a pair, or a duo, with All Might, with the explosion behind his back, the fire and the briefcase, and he's like Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get to Deku and
Over my dead body,
Mm-hmm.
He's not gonna die unless I'm already dead.
And he remembers back to the times that he bowed to Deku's mom and all of the promises that he's made to Deku. And then in this episode, Deku's kind of using some of his words back at him.
Well, everything he is told to Deku and inspired him to be is somebody who would, in a certain perspective, not want him involved.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy. All Might, as much as he hates it, probably, like, he probably also hates the fact that he's the one who instilled this in him.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also absolutely terrified for All Might. I don't know what a conversation between him and Stain would look like at that exact moment when he is on the ground, like, groveling,
I'm going to imagine that Stain was just watching, because we do know that All Might then communicated to Hawks, Best Genius, and Endeavor that Midoriya got away from him. I think it is really...
I hope.
Yeah, I think it's really cool to kind of hear what we've kind of seen all along from Bakugo in this episode, that All Might and Deku are too similar. And it made me think back to, I think we got Night Eye and a line from Night Eye in this episode, which is also perfect of why this should be like a 40-minute episode altogether, because Night Eye was our example, and that's when we learned that All Might was like really against having sidekicks or having the support of other people, and then he started that friendship with Night Eye and then ended up parting ways.
Yep.
And now Deku needs to reach out his hand to the ones that are reached out to him and accept the support of his friends.
I cannot believe that Deku was like, I'm as strong as you were at your best. I don't need you anymore. Like, he was like, literally the line was like, I'm the same level as you at 100%,
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable. Death Arms has retired.
He got some good lines.
Yeah. That hurts.
One boo can overshadow 10 cheers.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite was, I wasn't a hero, I was just a human. And I was like, oh, deep.
Yeah. It sucks because it's somebody, it's a really good method to convey the gravity of the situation, because we've had Death Arms with us in season 1, right?
Yeah, a completely recognizable character. Even if we don't know him super well, it's the iconic of the costume. We know Death Arms.
And seeing the bolts and nuts on the ground, and he left them behind. Sad. Like, we've really gotten this far down. I don't know. Mm-hmm. We've gotten to this place. But one of my other points that I wanted to talk about, it was only one line, but info is leaking with resigning heroes. Mm-hmm. That's crazy. Like, I wonder if they, like, I know that we're told there's a bunch of gray in the world too, right?
And heroes that were doing things maybe for more of financial gain.
I don't think I ever thought that they'd actually, like, confirm or show us that the world that we were introduced to in season 1 had corruption within it, mm-hmm. And going with what Lady Nagant was saying last episode, with, like, her experience of the commission and stuff, and setting other heroes up, mm-hmm. I am like, oh, are heroes just, like, leaking information for money, like, themselves? Are they doing it for, like, a different kind of fame?
Yeah, it's really cool that this show has kind of started us off with this, showing us this hero society, and making us think like, wow, this is so cool and entertaining. And then they give us Stain, and that's kind of our first interaction with, like, seeing that the hero society, there's some maybe bad eggs or people that aren't necessarily fit for the name hero. And then now we're, like, going even deeper. We're getting about the safety commission and this refusal to put the whole truth out there, and the cover-ups and the hiding, and what the real truth of kind of the society that has been built is.
Yeah.
And all of the different repercussions of that society.
Overseas heroes are coming.
Yes.
That's good. I'm glad. I want to meet some new people.
Probably not in the next couple episodes, I don't think.
I would imagine it would be in a fight, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's either going to be one, we're all, like, around a table, and they, like, barred through the doors, and we're like, yeah, we're here, let's plan, like, a plan of attack for next season, you know? Or it's going to be in the middle of a fight, and they're going to come in and, like, help last second.
I find it hard to not imagine almost the exact thing we got at the beginning of this season with how many heroes came to fight originally.
Yeah.
I almost imagine the same call to arms and big battle for the actual final battle, but maybe that's not what it's supposed to be. Maybe the focus is supposed to be on All for One versus One for All.
But with how good at predicting All for One is, I feel like he probably would consider if heroes from overseas are going to come help and how we deal with them, you know?
He probably already knows whatever quirks he'd be dealing with. I mean, how do you beat someone that is so good at predicting things and also has such a repertoire of things available to them, powers available to them?
Yeah.
And also minions to use as time bombs.
And dictator.
Oh my gosh.
That's a terrifying quirk.
Terrifying look.
That's
terrifying
one
quirk.
villain I never want to see a backstory for, because I don't want to see, like, all the horrifying shit he could have done. He could have done, like, the worst of the, like, he could make you kill your family and your friends, and and there's no, like, brainwashing over it. They're completely aware that they are not in control. That's terrifying.
Just for fun, they decided to make it that Crust was the one that defeated Dictator.
How are they gonna do that? And then you
just for fun, I was
twisted the knife by doing that. Unbelievable.
There was something really, really emotional, though, about knowing that those people couldn't control themselves and the looks on their faces as they were ripping Deku's mask off and as they had their hands all over him.
Yep. And all Deku was thinking of how, like, oh yeah, I'll come up with a plan.
I'm going to come up with a plan and get us all out of this. Yeah.
My last thing is that Deku defeating these other villains and happening so quick and so easy. Like, he's defeating them with ease at this point. Instantly, and interrogating them. And, like, tying them up and being like, All Might, you better step away so you don't get exploded, you know? It's such a turn for Deku as a character that's, like, stepping into the realm of, like, over-the-top villainy, like, of how it looks, like, from the outside.
The way they made Deku look in this episode and have other people perceive him that didn't know him was honestly so shocking.
It was like, I wasn't believing it. So it's really nice that in the same episode, we have Bakugo and the rest of the class come to his aid.
Well, Deku is our last hope, and the burden on him is growing.
I am scared of what the reaction is going to be if they can get him back to the school.
I know. Was that possible foreshadowing that that's actually going to be happening? I didn't think we would ever return to the school.
I'm hoping that Principal Nezu's defenses for UA don't have to be utilized, you know?
He said, like, how about we test him out? Let's see if we even did a good job.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
That's all I have, you.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we hope to see you next time.